Hello, sports fans and baseball fans out there, and Stratomatic baseball fans. I got a treat for you today. The 2024 baseball set is not out yet. It hasn't been picked up because opening day hasn't happened. Stratomatic opening day hasn't happened. But you can get an advanced look at the 2024 season and players if you have Baseball Max, because Baseball Max now has the 2024 season in it. Now, I was under the impression that it wouldn't have it until the drop date of every other game, of every other Stratomatic product for baseball, but it does apparently, and so we are going to take a look today at an advanced look at some of the cards. Now, again, disclaimer. This video would be like 6 hours long if I went through and did a look at every player. Particularly the way you have to do it in Max. You have to start a game and have the teams brought up and then click on players' cards to look at them. So this would be an excessively long video if I did every player. I will try to do all of the main players, the ones that a lot of people would like to see. But that's just, we'll get that out of the way. So we go to new experience, and you go to exhibition game, and we start with we start by picking the teams that we're going to do. Now, you can see I got 2024 right here, and we're going to start with the New York Yankees and the Dodgers, because they have a lot of players that a lot of people want to see. So we'll go to the Yankees, and we will go to next and pick the Dodgers as the next team that we want to look at. Right now I'm going to be looking at hitters, and then I'll look at some starting pitchers after that. We're not going to look at relief pitchers because the way that this game is set up, it's excessively difficult and time-consuming to get to the point where you can look at a relief pitcher. So we will go to the LA Dodgers, and then we will go to next, and we will take a look at a lot of the main players that are in these lineups. For instance, we will take a look at Judge's card. Now we will bring up Aaron Judge's card, and that is the card right there. So if you have Aaron Judge in your league, and again, feel free to stop this and take a longer look, stop the video and take a longer look at anybody that you want to see more in depth, but there is what Aaron Judge's card will look like. Now, these ratings are Stratomatic ratings that are specific only to Max, but this guy, Judge is rated a 99 out of 100. That's not surprising at all. We will look at Soto's card. So here is Soto's card. So again, if you have Juan Soto, this is the card that you, in theory, are going to be getting when the cards come out. And he is rated a 98. Again, not surprising. We will take a look at Stanton's card. Take a look at Giancarlo Stanton. So if you have Giancarlo Stanton, this is what his card is going to look like. Not quite as good as Soto and Judge, but then again, you wouldn't expect it to be, and again, his rating is 70. So let's see, anybody else here that you really want to see? Maybe Volpe. We'll take a look at Volpe. This is his card. And again, feel free to stop it if you want to. He's a 76. So now we're going to go to the Dodgers, and we'll look at some of the Dodgers, and obviously we're going to look at Shohei Ohtani, and this is what his card is going to look like. You know what? I don't like that card really even as much as Judge's, really, but this is what you're going to get if you got Shohei Ohtani, and again, he's rated a 96, and Judge was a 99, so, take that for what you want. But yeah, I don't think this card is quite as good as Judge's. Not that it's not a good card. It obviously is. We will take a look at Teoscar Hernandez. He is another guy that would be of interest to people in in replay and various leagues. And so that's what his card would look like, or will look like, when you get the cards. He's an 81 in this rating system out of 100. Let's see, who else here? Oh, Freddy Freeman. You definitely need to look at Freddy Freeman. So he's got a good card. I like this card. Maybe not quite as much against lefties, but that's to be expected since he is a left-handed hitter. You would expect him to be better against righties, and again, he's an 81. An 81 out of 100. So let's see. I think that's about all maybe we'll take a look at Will Smith. I mean, I know there's somebody out there saying, I got Will Smith, take a look at him. So here's what Will Smith's card will look like. Again, can't really do everybody in the league. He's a 79 out of 100. And now we will go back and we will pick two different teams. And okay, we'll go to next. I want to make sure I'm on the right page. Major League, and we will... Who else are we going to look at? I guess we'll take a look at Atlanta. And then we will go to next. And we will take a look at... let's see, what other team is going to be a team that people are going to be chomping at the bit to get a look at? We'll take Philadelphia. Let's go Philadelphia. They've got some good players. So here again, you have the Atlanta Braves lineup. We will take a look at Ozuna. Ozuna had a really good year. So this is Marcel Ozuna's card, what you can expect to see from him when you get the cards. He's an 85 out of 100 in max. And we will take a look at, are we going to take a look at Matt Olson? Yeah, let's take a look at Matt Olson. So you got Matt Olson's card right here. This is what he's going to look like. He is a 79 out of 100. Obviously, the players I'm going to be looking at were good players who had, really good years, or great players who had really good years. Let's look at Riley. So this is Austin Riley, the third baseman for Atlanta. And this is what his card is, again, allegedly going to look like. He is a 74 out of 100 in max. And let's see. Let's take a look at Albies. This is Ozzie Albies' card, which you're going to expect to see. He's a 70 out of 100 in max. And let's see. We don't have... we don't have the guy that got injured. Their outfielder is not in their starting lineup. However... if he is the, well, anyway, let's look at some of the notable Phillies that you're going to get. You got Harper's card. I have Harper, one of my leagues. So that's his card. He is an 85 out of 100 in max. And, I'll give you a second there to take a look. Schwarber had a pretty good year. He's an 89 out of 100. And you can see all the walks, all the on base against lefties. I mean, the dude gets on base. And again, it's not quite as good against righties, which is surprising because I think, isn't Schwarber a left-handed hitter? But anyway, he is an 89 out of 100 in the game. And let's take a look at Trea Turner. I know there's probably a lot of people that have Trea Turner. This is his card. Now, again, I'm not looking at ratings. The ratings you can see, I mean, the ratings are out on the Stratomatic website. So if you want to see what these players' ratings with their E ratings and everything are, you can go to that site. Or see it really quickly before I page down where it's just showing the batting stats or the batting cards. So he's an 80 out of 100 in Max. And let's take a look at Real Muto. And for some reason, there we go. So see, you can see here, he's a catcher 2, -3 arm, all of that stuff or at least most of it, I think you can see with the ratings and, just download the ratings. So that's what Real Muto's card would look like. Probably one of the better catchers in the league, if you're lucky enough to have him. 74 out of 100. And, finally, let's take a look maybe at Baum. Baum had 15 home runs. Let's look at Castellanos. Excuse me. So this is Castellanos again. He's a right field 4 with a 0 arm and an E3 rating. So that's what you got if you. That's what you're going to get if you have Castellanos in your league. And he's a 73 out of 100. Now, let's see if we go to next. Let's see if they give us. Now, in some cases, to look at some players like bench players and relief pitchers, you have to actually start the game. Like I just did. But let's see if we have a substitute here. Let's see. Let's take a look at Adam Duvall. That would be an interesting card to look at. But, it doesn't have the guy. And I'm surprised it doesn't have the guy that got injured. I can't remember his name. But anyway, the outfielder. Because I thought he played a lot. But anyway, you can see Duvall's only a 53. Lorian, it doesn't give you that guy. So, and some players, again, it doesn't give you some players. So I'm going to hit the X here. That brings me back to exhibition again. We'll go back in. We'll take a look at some other teams and players. We will look at my White Sox. Let's take a look at my White Sox. And let's see. Who else was a big team that would have been... let's take a look at Arizona. I mean, Arizona's got some good players. So anyway, here you go. You've got the White Sox. We'll take a look at Nicky Lopez because I have Nicky Lopez. He's a 62 out of 100. And again, I think this rating encompasses their fielding and their hitting card, because this hitting card is really not all that great. But that's what Nicky Lopez would look like if you have Nicky Lopez. Let's take a look at Vaughn, Andrew Vaughn. So this is his card. He's got some nice ballpark home runs. But again, the White Sox, they were a horrible team. He's a 68 out of 100. You're not going to see any 99s on this team. Take a look at Sheets. Gavin Sheets. And that's his card. Again, not very impressive. He's a 61 out of 100. And let's see what he is. He's a right field 5, E4 with a 0 arm, and a first base 4, E4. I don't know that we have anybody else that's worth looking at there as far as the hitters go. So we're going to look at, Eugenio Suarez. He had 30-plus home runs. He's an 80. He is an 80 in Stratomatic Max out of 100. Again, he's got some good on base versus righties. And my phone is going off, so we're going to silence it. As you take a look at Suarez, we'll get out of that. He's an 80 again in out of 100. Let's go look at Cristian Walker. Cristian Walker had a good year. He's a first base 1E3 as well. He is a 77 out of 100. And that's what his card looks like. So let's go back and let's get two different teams. So we're going to go in and we're going to go to, again, I'm doing my best here to give you a look at as many people, as many players as I can, because I know that there's people that have, obviously you could have an array of different players. Colorado had some interesting player, or at least a couple. So here you go. You've got, this is Baltimore. And I guess a big one for them is Gunnar Henderson. So this is Gunnar Henderson. He's a shortstop too, E26. And he is a 97 out of 100 in the game. And again, that probably takes into account partially his fielding rating. Rutschmann, a lot of people will have Rutschmann in their leagues. Again, much like Real Muto, he's one of the better catchers in the league, so if you're lucky enough to have him. And he is a 76. He's a catcher 1 with a 0 arm. Pass ball rating of 1. A lot of the super advanced stuff I'm not up to snuff on, but anyway, that's Rutschmann. Let's look at Jimenez. He came over from the White Sox. He's only a 56. He has a right field 5 with a +2 arm and E3 rating. And that is what his card is going to look like. If you have Jimenez, God help you. But anyway, that's what his card is. So let's look at, I don't think I looked at Santander. So let's take a look at Santander. He's an 85 in max. And this is what his card is looking like. And he is a right field. I said I wasn't going to look at the rating, but apparently now I'm starting to do that. He's a right field 3 with a -1 arm and an E3. And at first, he is a 4 with an E18 rating. So that's his card. Now we move on to the Rockies. And we'll take a look at Tovar. I have Tovar. He's an 83 rated. He's a shortstop 1 E8. That's probably factoring into that rating. And that's what his batting card looks like. So, yeah, I've got him in my Elmwood League that I talk about often and have had various videos about. And that is his card, 83 out of 100 for him. Let's take a look at, who else? Toglia. Take a look at Michael Toglia. This is his card. He's a 73 out of 100 in max. And he is a first base 3, E13, and a right field 4, E5 with a 0 arm. So that's what his card looks like, if you have his card. We'll take a look at what is this? Brenton Doyle? Brenton Doyle? Yeah, so we'll take a look at him. He's an 83 out of 100 in the game. He's a center field 1 E5 with a -3 arm. And that's what you got if you that's what you're going to get for his hitting card. And that's what you're going to have. So that is Brenton Doyle, and we will now go back. We're going back, and we'll take a look at 2 other teams. Let's take a look at the Cubs. That's a big team that people might want to see some players on. And we will go to let's go to St. Louis Cardinals, and take a look at a couple of their players. So here you got the Cubs. Take a look at Swanson's card. He is a shortstop 1E6 and a 76 rating in max. That's what his hitting card looks like. And again, you know, some of these you can kind of eyeball them a little bit just from the math, because the ratings that are out have the math and how the cards, you know, look mathematically. But you can manipulate the math in different ways to make the card look different. So he's a 79 out of 100. We'll look at Suzuki, Seiya Suzuki. He is a 78 out of 100. That's what his card looks like. He is a right field 4, -2 arm E7, and a left field 4 E7. So, pretty good on base card, but he's not going to be much for you in the field. Ian Happ, he is a left field 2, E1 with a -2 arm, and a 78 out of 100 in baseball max. And that's what his card is going to look like. So you see, this video is becoming excessively long, and I'm not even looking at every single player. So here's Nico Hoerner. He is a second base 1 E10 and a shortstop 2 E20. 75 out of 100. So that is his card. Now again, these ratings have nothing to do with the regular cards. This is just a baseball max rating. And we will go and look at some of the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll look at Goldschmidt. Goldschmidt didn't have a good year. He's a first base 2 E5. 73 rating out of 100. Might actually be a little bit, on the generous side. But that's Goldschmidt. Got to look at Arenado, I would think. So here's Arenado's card. He's a 73 out of 100. Didn't have the greatest year for him, obviously. You can see he really only kind of is really effective against righties. Lefties, not quite nearly as much. And let's see, Brendan Donovan. Yeah, maybe take a look at Brendan Donovan. I like those big doubles right there. He is a 73 out of 100. He was a left field 3 E0 with a +2 arm, second base 3 E3, and a third base 4 E27. So you don't want to play him at third. And that would be what his card generally looks like, or will look like when you get it. And again, I'm just assuming that, but that's what Strat has said. Anyway, let's look at Wilson Contreras before we leave. Another good catcher. He's a catcher 3 with a -1 arm and an E3. And that's what you're going to get when you get his card. 77 out of 100 rating. And now we will go back and maybe we'll look at a couple other teams. For hitters before we move on. So let's see, we'll take a look at Detroit, some of the Detroit players. And let's take a look at some of the San Diego players. They had some interesting guys. So here you got Detroit. Torkelson had a bad year, but let's take a look at him. He's a 62 in max out of 100. He is a first base 3.7. Did not have a very good year. Detroit's still waiting for him to put it all together. But that's what Torkelson's card will look like. Let's see who we're gonna look at. I know the guy. What's his name? Green. There we go. Riley Green. So this is Riley Green's hitting card. He is a left field 1 E5 with a -1 arm, a center field 3 E5, and a right field 3 E5. So much better in left than the other two outfields. And you can see that's what his hitting card looks like. He's a 79 out of 100 in max. And let's look at, I want to look at Jung here. Jace Jung, I guess is how you pronounce it. It's kind of a weird card. It's a lot of walks. A lot of on base there, although it's up at numbers that you don't hit quite as often. He is a 51 out of 100 for his ratings. And I guess we would look at Meadows too. He is a 70 out of 100. And that would be what his card looks like, his hitting card. He is a center field 1 E2 with a 0 arm. So again, there is Parker Meadows. And I guess I'm going to move on from them because we got to get going here. So this is San Diego. Take a look at Machado. I've got Machado in one of my leagues. He's an 83 out of 100 in max. He's a third base 2 E12. And that is what his hitting card looks like. And we got to look at the All-Star Profar. I'm still perplexed at the fact that he was an All-Star, but I mean the stats back it up. He's an 80 out of 100 in max. Lots of on-base chances there, you can see. The hit by pitches even are pretty prominent. So yeah, he gets on base. And he is a left field 4 E1 with a -1 arm, a first base 4 E14. Boegaerts, take a look at Boegaerts. I'm sure some people want to see him. He's a 70 out of 100. Second base 3 E12, shortstop 4 E28. And that's the card you're going to get if you have Xander Boegaerts. And I guess we'll look at, before we leave, we'll look at Tatis Jr. He is a right field 2, E9 with a -3 arm. The E9, that's a little high for an outfielder. That's what his card is going to look like. Of course, he was switched from shortstop to the outfield when San Diego acquired Boegaerts. So let's go back now. Now, while we're on the subject, let's start looking at some pitchers. So here is Cease's card while we're on San Diego. So Dylan Cease, pretty good card here. A lot of strikeouts like he always has. I remember that from his White Sox days. He is an 84 out of 100. And, yeah, I mean, we'll take a look at Skubal. Well, we have Skubal up. Well, we have the Tigers, I mean. That is a really good pitching card. He is a 94. Not surprisingly, he is a 94 out of 100. Tarik Skubal is. And we'll go back and we will take a look at some other pitchers, some other starting pitchers. We will go back again to the Yankees. So let's bring up the New York Yankees. And we're not going to do Rodon. Let's take a look at Garrett Cole. And we will go to the Dodgers. Again, the Dodgers just like we looked at last time. And I don't know who was a better pitcher on there. Yeah, we'll take a look at maybe Glasnow. Glasnow had a really good whip. So here's Garrett Cole's card. This is what you're going to get if you have Garrett Cole. Not bad, not bad at all. 72 out of 100 in max. And if you have Glasnow, this is Glasnow's card. This is a really good card. You can see why the Dodgers were as good as they were. He's an 82 out of 100 in max. And we're going to go back again. We're going to look at some other teams and other pitchers. So let's go to Baltimore because I know that they bring up, they got Burnes right there that we will be able to see. And let's go to Atlanta. Let's take a look at Atlanta. They must have had good pitching. We'll take a look at Burnes. Corbin Burnes. This is his card. This is what you're going to get if you got Corbin Burnes. He was an 80 out of 100 in max. And if you got Charlie Morton, this is what you're going to get. Charlie Morton, he's going to give up some stuff. You can see this card is kind of littered with on base and stuff. Let's see if there's any other Atlanta pitchers we want to look at while we're on Atlanta. Let's see. No, let's see. We got to go back, and then we'll see if there's somebody else we want to look at. How about Max Fried? So we'll take a look at the Max Fried man. Wow, he allows some guys on against left-handed hitters. Kind of surprising. 117 whip, but you're not going to get that 117 whip if you're facing a lot of lefties in the opposing lineup. He is a 79 out of 100, though. And we will go back again. And we will take a look at a couple more teams, at least a couple more. Let's look at, well, we'll look at the White Sox because they got Crochet. I want to take a look at Crochet's card, and we will take a look at, let's grab a different team. How about Cleveland? We'll grab Cleveland. So this is Crochet's card. Really good. Well, it's really good against either side. I think that's a very good, solid card. He's a 75 out of 100 in max. And let's see, Bybee. If you got Bybee, this is his card. Good card. 78 out of 100 in max. And, let's go next. Oh, and no, we got to go back. We got to go back and see if we can find some other interesting pitchers. How about Nick Sandlin? Now, I said that it's hard to look at relievers. I think Nick Sandlin is probably a reliever. Let's take a look. Because I'm not really familiar with Cleveland that much. Yeah, he's a reliever, but this is his card. If you have Nick Sandlin. Kind of concerning here, you got a whole ton of walks right in the middle of the card in the 5 column. He's a 57 out of 100, by the way. And we will... I don't think there was anybody else worth looking at it on Chicago. So we will move along. We're going to move along smartly here. Let's take a look at Boston. We didn't take a look at some of the Boston players yet. And let's take a look at Cincinnati. Again, I'm trying to hit some different teams and different, players. Let's take a look at Kutter Crawford. That's going to be Kutter Crawford's card if you have him in one of your leagues, or if you are in a league where you're playing the actual teams. He's a 69 out of 100 and you have Boston. Let's go next and we're going to look at Hunter Green for Cincinnati. This is the guy they give us, so I'm thinking he's pretty good, and he should be. He's a 90 out of 100 in the Stratomatic Max. So let's go back, see if we can find some other guys to look at on Cincinnati. Who else would be interesting? And this is Nick Martinez. He's a reliever. So again, I apologize. I am showing relievers. I didn't say I said I wasn't going to do that. He's an 82 out of 100. He wouldn't last very long as a starter, though. So next, let's see if there was somebody else we want to look at on Boston. How about Houck? So we'll look at Houck's card. This is what you got with Houck. He was a starter, yes. Starter 6, he's an 84 out of 100 in the game. And that's what his card will look like. And let's see. Let's take a look at maybe some Milwaukee pitchers. I think they were pretty good, right? And we will look at some Minnesota pitchers. I think they had a couple of good pitchers. Again, trying to hit the gamut. I'm trying to hit as many guys as you might want to see. This is going to be Pablo Lopez's card. Really good card here. So I'll get everything in here. He is a 70 out of 100 as a starter. And let's see. And Freddy Peralta. Let's take a look at Freddy Peralta's card for Milwaukee. He's probably their ace, closest thing they got to an ace. 71 out of 100 for him. And that's what his pitching card will look like. And we'll go back. Let's see if we can find some other guys to look at. Bailey Ober. And, and let's take a look at, for Milwaukee, Savale. Let's take a look at Savale. So this is going to be Bailey Ober's card. Again, good card, good pitcher. And take a look at Savale right here. Savale now, not really good. 65 out of 100. And there's a lot of hits. There's a lot of big hits there, too. And we will go back just to take a look at some random guys. Willie Adames, batters. 88 out of 100 Adames is. He's a shortstop 2E21. Good card. And let's see. Anybody else we want to look at? Ryan Jeffers. I have Ryan Jeffers on one of my teams, so this is what his card will look like. He is a catcher 4, E8 with a +1 arm. So defensively not very good. He's a 72 out of 100 on the ratings for the... I remember one guy we need to go look at that people might be interested in, because I know I would have been interested in him seeing his card if we had, if it was somebody else showing it to me. We're going to look at Oakland. And let's take a look at J.P. Sears for one thing, although he's not the main guy I wanted to look at. And I know I'm jumping around now. I'm going to pitchers, batters, whatever. But, I tried to keep it as consistent as possible. He's a 67 out of 100. But the guy that I really wanted to see for Oakland is, there's a few good players on Oakland. We really should take a look. But here's Brent Rooker. Rooker had like 38, 39 home runs, and he's a 93 out of 100. But he's a terrible outfielder. He's a 5 in the outfield. So I have him, but, he's going to be a DH for me. But anyway, let's center that card up so that people can get a good look at it. Yeah, it's a really good card. In fact, I looked at it earlier, and now to me it looks better than it looked earlier. How about a little Shane Langoliers? We got a catcher 4, -2 arm, E1. And that's what he's going to look like. That's a good card. He's a pretty good catcher to have. He's a 79 out of 100 in the game as well. So that's him. And you know what? I got to call it a day here. But that's what you got. That's what the players I'm looking at. Again, I apologize if I didn't get to somebody, I didn't look at somebody that you're going to have or somebody on your favorite team. I tried to do what I could, but the video is already run on long enough. But let me know if there's anyone you want to see. I can post them on Facebook. And it's Bob Zolke on Facebook. But that's going to be it for me. Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke, signing off.